Chiefs vs. Eagles live updates. What time is the Super Bowl? Prediction, odds, favorite, and injury report. The NFL season comes to a close Sunday with the Eagles and Chiefs facing off in Super Bowl LVII at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Kickoff is at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with the game airing on Fox and streaming on NFL+. The Chiefs have been able to make do with a young, inexperienced secondary so far, but that challenge could be much harder depending on corner L'Jarius Sneed's status for the game. Even with Sneed, the Chiefs have struggled all year top-flight receivers, ranking 31st in pass defense DVOA versus number 1 receivers, according to Football Outsiders charting. And the Eagles arguably have 2 players worthy of that title in A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. The Chiefs played man coverage at the league's 8th highest rate during the regular season, according to True Media, and Brown was arguably the NFL's best receiver versus man coverage this season. He ranked 4th in yards per route run versus man, 3.39, 2nd in receiving yards versus man, 6.13, and 1st in touchdown versus man, 6. He could be in store for a big day in his first Super Bowl. The Eagles, NFC, and Chiefs, AFC, were the number 1 seeds in their respective conferences. This is the first time number 1 seeds have faced off in the Super Bowl since 2017, when the Eagles beat the Patriots in Super Bowl LII. In fact, the NFC team has won 10 of the 13 number 1 versus number 1 seed matchups since the playoffs initially expanded in 1990. Can Chiefs slow Jalen Hurts, Eagles' offense? These tactics may help. The biggest mismatch of the Super Bowl will be the Chiefs' 15th ranked rushing defense by DVOA, Football Outsiders' efficiency metric, against the historically good Eagles rushing attack. The combination of a powerful offensive line led by 2 future Hall of Famers, center Jason Kelce and right tackle Lane Johnson, and the running ability of Jalen Hurts has produced an option attack with schematic answers for whatever a defense can throw at them. Last week, against the 49ers rushing defense that ranked 2nd in DVOA, the Eagles averaged only 3.36 yards per rush, but they finished with 148 yards and had 6 runs of more than 10 yards, twice as many as the 49ers have given up in a game all season. And the postseason, the Eagles have mauled opponents and blown them off the line of scrimmage with physical double teams, but brute force isn't the only thing that makes the Eagles' run game go. Jeff Stoutland, the Eagles' offensive line coach and run game coordinator, who just got a well-earned extension this week, does an excellent job of creating numbers and Eagles' advantages through formations and schemes. Against the 49ers, the Eagles gashed the 49ers on weak side runs and made simple but effective adjustments. Super Bowl 2023, game pick and prop bets. Vic Taffer's predictions. Well, we made it. The Super Bowl. You survived some really bad picks by yours truly, and I endured some whimsical teasing by you guys in the comments section. We have stuck together and been pretty good in the playoffs, overcoming some tough losses and the 49ers quarterback injuries to still go 7-5 against the spread. We picked Chris Jones and the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl before the playoffs started, and since no one on this planet can cover Travis Kelce, we're sitting pretty. The Chiefs are 1.5 point underdogs to the Eagles, and Patrick Mahomes, the Michael Jordan of football, is 7-1-1 ATS on the very rare occasions that he's an underdog. This is the first time Mahomes will ever be an underdog in a playoffs game. So we're golden. But here's the thing. When I was a kid, I would draw pictures in class and they would be pretty good. Then I would start tinkering with them and then tinker some more until the picture looked like modern art, which is not the goal when you're 5. This year, as you're well aware, I would tinker and talk myself out of good picks and trends all the time, so you can't be too surprised when I'm now going with the Eagles on Sunday. It's like my guy, Freddie Nietzsche, once said, I am my own worst enemy and I'm lurking in a cave or forest to pounce on myself. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the idea. Last week, 101 against the spread, both of which were best bets. Playoffs, 7-5 against the spread and 4-3 on best bets. Regular season, 127, 139, 5 ATS, 26, 27, 3 on best sets. NFL officiating is under fire, putting the Super Bowl crew in the spotlight. When Super Bowl 57 kicks off Sunday at State Farm Stadium, 3 teams will take the field. The Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles, who will be in pursuit of immortality and the Lombardi Trophy, plus the 7-man on-field officiating crew. Their goal is to remain largely invisible. The latter was tough at times during the 2022 NFL season, and the tumultuous and controversial final 10.5 minutes of AFC Championship game only further punctuated what seems like an ongoing and increasingly deteriorating officiating problem for the league. Instead of being able to focus on the heroics of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs following that 23-20 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, many NFL followers struggled to make sense of multiple inexplicable officiating gaffes that, at least temporarily, damaged the integrity of the game. Just days away from the Super Bowl kickoff, Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Andy Reid, Nick Sirianni, and the rest of the Chiefs and Eagles are dominating the football conversation, but looming in the back of many people's minds is a twinge of uneasiness about the quality of officiating, a concern that somehow, some way, the Zebras will botch a crucial moment Sunday and directly and unfairly impact the outcome of the NFL's biggest game. Chris Jones, Chiefs D-line identify first step in getting to Jalen Hurts. A week after watching film of the Eagles' offense, Chris Jones was more than willing Wednesday to acknowledge what most analysts think of the Chiefs' opponent in Super Bowl 57. They were an amazing offensive line, said Jones, considered by many the NFL's best interior pass rusher. He's a dynamic quarterback, Jones said a few minutes later of Jalen Hurts. It's going to be hard, man, Jones said of the Chiefs' final mission of the season, one victory away from their second championship in 4 years. Part of why Super Bowl 57 is so intriguing is because of the matchups in the trenches, the Eagles' offensive line against the Chiefs' pass rush. Each group is expected to face its toughest challenge of the season. What fuels Eagles' RT, Lane Johnson? His hunger for more, literally. Lane Johnson is not like those watching the Super Bowl, and that's not only because he plays right tackle better than anyone in the world or because he's 6'6" and 330 pounds. Here's another way Johnson is different. Unlike those who read the back of the label hoping their snack can somehow pass as healthy, Johnson couldn't seem to eat enough calories. He was 312 pounds about 3 years ago and wanted to reach 330, but he had a hard time eating enough food or the right foods. That's when Stan Efferding came into his life, the founder of the vertical diet. Efferding designed a diet for Johnson that requires him to consume around 5,500 calories per day of micronutrient-dense, easy-to-digest food. Yes, 5,500 calories per day. It's a lot, but the whole thing is it's easy on the digestive system, Johnson, 32, said by his locker on Saturday after the final practice before traveling to Arizona. So it's not like you're always bloated. It's a lot easier on the stomach than eating a whole bunch of stuff. Eagles coach Nick Sirianni and the small college powerhouse that shaped his football future. Long before Nick Sirianni was swearing and posing in front of the TV cameras during a playoff win as the head coach of the 15-win Philadelphia Eagles, he was a 23-year-old defensive backs coach at his alma mater. Larry Kearse was running a championship factory at Mount Union, not a clinic for aspiring coaches. That one became a byproduct of the other was more than coincidence, but it was never the intended result. Standards were high, and even off-season brainstorming sessions turned competitive. If you know that Kearse compiled a record of 332, 24-3, and won 11 NCAA Division III national championship in his time as Mount Union's head coach, none of that is surprising. If you guessed that Sirianni carried himself with a certain level of self-confidence back then too, you'd also be correct. Productive pairing. Patrick Mahomes and tight end Travis Kelce have connected on 13 touchdown passes in the postseason, second most by any tandem in NFL history. Only Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, 15, have more. Mahomes and Kelce have also connected for 1,129 passing yards in their postseason careers, fourth most in NFL history.